Today, JTV is brought to you by Chrysal USA. Give flowers the love they deserve. That's the beauty of Chrysal.
Oh, hi. We're just having a spot of tea today in the garden. Our garden with our beautiful poodle sculpture. This is a project that was inspired by one of our uBloomers from across the pond. So today we'll be creating this beautiful sculpture and also talking about Chrysal T-bags. So today, it truly is about tea time. It's about T-bags. T-bags are all about control for your flowers. It's about volume control and visual control and usage control of your floral nutrients. I've told you many times before about underdosing and overdosing. There was a study done many years ago that told us if we used the appropriate amount of floral nutrient for our flowers, we'd get the maximum vase life. But if we overdosed it, it shortened it by 20%. And if we underdosed it, it shortened it by 25%. So being accurate is always important. That's what tea bags do. They ensure that you're given the exact amount of floral nutrient to the exact amount of water. And here's a green alert. By always measuring, you use less water. That means you're controlling your water supply, and it's helping you take care of one of our most valuable natural resources. So we control the usage with the tea bag. There's no waste, there's no overdosing, and that ensures that you spend less per bucket, and that your spend per bucket is always the same. It's about consistency, and we all love to save money. The other thing is that it's easy to train your people to have good practices. You mark your buckets, or use a measuring stick to ensure you're always using a gallon of water. Each one of the bags is controlled to a gallon of water, or for the bulb food, 2 quarts of water. So you add the tea bag to the bucket. Then you fill it up with a gallon of water. What happens is it provides better dilution and it can be used immediately. There's no waiting necessary. And it's active for 5 to 6 days. It keeps your water clean and odor-free. So there's no more stinky buckets and no more slimy buckets. Now let's talk a little bit about the bulb tea bags. This is a special formula just for bulb products. We showed the graphic effects of this product on stargazer lilies in an earlier JTV webisode. You'll want to go back to our archives and check that out, because it's graphic and it shows you exactly the difference between the flowers when you use the tea bag and when you don't. This is for tulips, daffodils, hyacinth, iris, lilies, alstroemeria. Any bulb flower benefits from the tea bag. Remember, the experts at Chrysal are scientists, and they help flowers live as long as they possibly can. It's worth the time to help all types of flowers perform their best. So remember, red tea bag for bulb flowers and your blue tea bag for general purpose. Again, the bulb food keeps your water clean and odor-free. It also has more sugars, so the foliage stays greener for the lifespan of the flowers. The blooms actually get bigger, and they're more colorful. They're brighter, they have vibrant color, and there's even more fragrance. It gets 100% of all of the blossoms on lilies blooming. That means every bud is going to bloom. And the blooms themselves have less transparencies. Now let's not ignore the fact that we have sachets for the consumer too. There's 10 grams, which is for a full quart, and 5 grams for a half quart. Now remember, when you're thinking about this as an expense, many people gravitate towards the 5 gram because it's cheaper. But the 10 gram is actually better. This creates a full quart. But what's interesting, and I want to show you this, here's a quart of water. Inside a standard rose vase. Imagine if we cut that down halfway. we'd be underdosing with a 5-gram bag. So this is more valuable to your consumer. And what I really like to see is when there's 2 of these attached to a beautiful hand bouquet, because it allows the customer to create the appropriate amount of water in their vase for their beautiful flowers and then have more to top off later. Customer satisfaction is more important than ever before. And these sachets allow your customer to top off their vases and get a 7-day guarantee on their flowers. Underdosing is so very bad. The water gets dirty and bacteria grows faster. So giving your customer 2 of these 10-gram packets promotes better behavior for them and longer lasting flowers. It also helps your customers understand that you're helping them protect their investment. It makes everyone happy, and we sell more flowers to more people more often. Don't forget that the private label is also available in the sachet. That means the entire front of the sachet is your advertisement. You know, when you think about it, who is Chrysal really? It's more important that they know who you are, because you're the person getting them flowers all the time. It's better if the front of this has you on it. It's a business card and a food sachet at the exact same time. It's an affordable way for you to get your name out there and tell your customers how much you care about them. So, I think it's time that we get started with our Teatime project today. So let's get started with today's project. We're going to create a poodle sculpture that was inspired by one of our uBloom galleries. This project was shared by a uBloomer from across the pond, Leslie Nash from Colchester, England. Her website is jennyflowers.co.uk. You can check her out and her Colchester florist on the web. She's got other great tribute pieces in the galleries, including more 3D pieces and picture tributes similar to this one. So Leslie inspired our project for today. Thanks so much for this great inspiration, and now we'll show you how it's done. Today, we've taken a sculpting sheet from Oasis, which is 1.5 inches of foam on top of 1.5 inches of styrofoam. They're bonded together, so that gives us a dry surface on the bottom and lots of great support for the entire wet surface where we can put flowers. Today, we're using deli flame pom-poms from Esprit, so ours is going to look like a chocolate poodle when we get done. The key to this is creating a sculptured base that also provides a water source. So here, we've used different sizes of Oasis spheres to create the paws, the head, the tail, and then we used a standard block of Oasis floral foam and carved it down here in the back. We used other little smaller pieces of Oasis to create the haunches, and then one of the big grande bricks here to create the chest. Now what you're going to notice is, in some cases, we'll be going tightly, right up next to the foam itself. For the nose, we just sculpted a small piece out there, and I've detailed the face already. So now we build up the form with our different products. You'll notice here that the pom-poms are actually further away from the foam. So we can start to create a shape that's different than the blocks that we have inside here. So it's part artistic creation and part fill in the blank. All of our foam pieces were adhered together using double-ended wood picks. Except for our big support pieces, we also drove hyacinth stakes down through those all the way into the base itself. We want to make sure that this is completely secure so that transportation isn't an issue. So all that's left right now is for me to fill in the rest of this. You'll notice that I'm cutting these very short and I'm placing them into the foam. So they're going to be nice and tight and next to one another. I try and keep the stem as short as possible because I don't want to try and drive it in too far because it could also cause me to crush those stems. Up here, we leave the stems longer and we're bringing them in so that we can sculpt and contour the form that we want to occur. So leaving those guys longer helps me control the shape of that even more. But we want to make sure that we keep them nice and tight together because we don't want to see through that area either. For the ears, we'll also go out further so that we can create a nice form in that direction as well. So it's a combination of those two techniques that's going to cause this to look perfect. My pom-poms have been processed using the Formula 2 T-bags. I've had them in water for several days, so I got everybody open and I've got the maximum potential out of each bunch. All of the forms that we have here too were pre-soaked in floral nutrient as well. We used Chrysal Formula 3 to soak our foam. That way it allows our flowers to be their optimum best after delivery. So now it's all filled in. It took about 7.5 bunches of the pom-poms. Again, it took less because I had them developing in my Chrysal floral nutrient, giving me the maximum potential for every single bunch. Now we're going to use some ribbon around the edge, and I cut a length so that it'll fit right around the edge of the sculpting sheet. We'll take this and pin that into the styrofoam using a couple of decorative pins. And we can trim that edge off. That fills in the edge, and now we can work on the face. What I did was I used some pieces of suede, you could use felt, ribbon, anything, to create some of the details that are actually going to give this its personality. So the first thing I did was create two eyes. I've used a decorative pin in the center. All of a sudden, he's getting a personality. Then our nose. And then finally, a tongue that'll fit right in there. We'll apply a little bit of glue to the back with Oasis Cold Adhesive. We'll slip that right underneath this pom-pom. We've got a couple of bows, one for each ear. And then because this is floral foam at the base, we can fill it in with flowers. Our lilies that were processed with the bulb nutrient tea bag, notice these guys are almost a week old, still beautiful foliage, and every single one of these blossoms is going to open up. I'm going to use a selection of roses and gerberas and fill this all in so it looks like he's sitting right in the middle of a garden. We've got those beautiful high and intense roses that are from Euphoria, and the gorgeous gerberas from Green Valley. The jade trachelium from Esmeralda works beautifully for going in between and filling in, giving us nice green lush vegetation. We'll add some hot cocoa hypericum too, just for some texture differences. I love the hot cocoa hypericum. It's from Esprit. And once I discovered it, I like to use it a lot. And a few pieces of leather leaf from Fern Trust, just to tuck in and cover up the remainders of our foam. Our poodle's all tucked into his beautiful little flower garden. This is such a great idea. And special thanks to Leslie Nash for her inspirational gallery here at uBloom.com. And also thanks to the great people at Chrysal for allowing us to take care of our flowers so that they can be beautiful and we can create fun projects like this. Until next week, keep having fun with flowers.